Good morning, Denise Dryden. I'm out here on Bainbridge Island doing my weekly video series where I hopefully give you a sort of broader perspective and then some solid tools as to what you can do to navigate through those. So the topic for this week is preparedness. And I picked it on purpose, which is, oh my goodness, there's so much going on right now that how do we know and trust that we are prepared for what lies ahead? And I want to sort of go from the macro to the micro and walk you through some of the things that are at play right now so that you can be prepared, because that's the most important thing, is that it doesn't matter what it is. It's just the fact that if we know about it, then it isn't as scary, then it isn't as difficult to navigate. So that's sort of the purpose of what I'm doing this week, okay? Because we have so many different directions we can take. This is, whether it starts with Halloween or it starts with Thanksgiving, this is the, anywhere between 2-month to 5-week launch of the holiday season, right? This is when we have gatherings with family, we have expectations, we have traditions, we have all sorts of conditionings and patterns that we have held since we were little, since we were tiny children, on this is what the holidays are, this is what we're supposed to do, and that they're not working this year the way that they have before in the past. Second thing we have is that we have the most extreme political divide that we've ever witnessed, and it's being witnessed by the whole world here in the United States. We're really far apart, and there's a lot of contention on both sides. And the third part is that we have an astrological series of events that started in January 2020 that have sort of been just nailing us one after the other, so that we couldn't, the ability to navigate and trust whether astrology means anything. I don't think we could make this up if we tried. So what I want to do is look at, there's there's 2 eclipses coming in, November 30th and December 14th, and I think one, if not both of those, are as powerful as the big eclipse that we had in 2017 that sort of blacked out the whole United States for a little bit of time. So we're also, the last piece is that we're under restrictions, we're under lockdown. We have different state, local, and national rules and guidelines as to what we should do with this spreading virus or containment. So, this is powerful. It doesn't really matter which one, but the fact that all of these are up and that we're carrying all of them, it makes a lot of sense, because as an integrational coach, it is like, so it's okay, just dump out your purse, lay it all out in front of you, and let's figure out your pockets or your backpack, and let's lay it all out in front of us and say, what is it that we really are dealing with? What is it that we have? What is it that's concerning us, and how it's affecting us with other people? So the macro level is that when we go to the largest perspectives, is that I want to start with the biggest piece, which is I always want to know what astrology is doing. And the reason I go to astrology is that whether you go Chinese astrology, whether you go Western astrology, these are ancient practices that, they plant crops, they make decisions, they target holidays specifically at the way that stars and planets align. So I did a little Googling on astrology, and it's like a pseudoscience that is, and I thought, well, okay, yeah, that's one way to look at it. But understanding the positions of the planets and how they're used gives us a way to know what might be affecting us, right? So it means that we have calendar events, we have guidelines that has historically been significant for some reasons, for some people. So this may push your buttons. I know that, right? This may actually push you. However, there's even division on astrology. So let that all go right now, and let's just do astrology for a minute, because that's the macro, and then we're going to move in, okay? So what if there's something to it? What if these astrological events are much more significant than we thought? Because I want to walk you through the fact that I've got some notes up here, because I don't want to forget. Is that, we're looking at 2 times in 2020 when we've had significant events. January 12th, 2020, Saturn Pluto came down in conjunction, almost touched each other in, like, 2 degrees apart in the sign of Capricorn. The last time these two came together, and we've done this in previous videos, was in the 1500s, which launched the Reformation and launched the Renaissance. So the alignment of these planets has caused something before, historically. So don't you think it'd be sort of interesting to pay attention to that? Now, Saturn. Just imagine, forget about a planet, forget about whether you believe in astrology. Saturn is a planet that's paternal, stern, holds to the rules and structures, sort of in your face, responsible, works on, that architect, are things going? And he's the one who sort of goes, love to help you remodel that house, but you've got a problem with your foundation. We have to deal with that first. And then, can back off if you ignore it, but knows dang well that 10 years from now, that foundation's going to come up and bite you. So kind of told you, you got a problem in your foundation, right? So that's Saturn. Pluto is this, it's a little tiny planet that is a powerful, profound transformer. It explodes, it wipes out, it removes anything that doesn't serve you anymore. It's kind of like the deep cleaner that goes in and fuzzes up all the toxicity off of car parts or your internal. I mean, it just comes in and it just like shreds everything out and says, no, that doesn't work anymore. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. And then the third planet we have is Jupiter, which is this visionary who holds coherence and expands things. So you've got this battle between Saturn and Pluto, and they're sort of like, we need to make some changes. Yeah, blow it up. And and Jupiter sort of making it bigger, bigger, and bigger. It's been like that the whole 2020. And they're coming back together again, and they're shifting from Capricorn into Aquarius. And Aquarius is really air, it's visionary, it's broadened the definition. So we're really being forced all of 2020 to sort of let go of things that haven't served us and expand them. So to bring it in, does that make sense? So that's the big picture going on. Whether you believe in astrology or not, that's something that's been going on, and you're like, oh, I know this one. So let's bring it in a little bit closer. We have a virus that's been threatening our health, our economy, our relationships. It has literally changed everything. We're working from home. We are home. We're schooling our children from home. We're wearing masks. We're on limited activities. We have restrictions. We can't, at least in the state of Washington now, as of Wednesday, they just shut down all indoor dining. And they're putting restrictions in the state of California and Washington and Michigan, I think, and there's more, but I haven't been really keeping track of the exact ones, where there's restrictions on how many people can gather in a house, how we can see our aging parents and grandparents, what we can do and what we can't do. So we've been going 9+ months on this. Started in March. So think, January 12th, these planets kind of came down, and this thing just came in and is changing everything. The virus is exploded. Okay? So that's enough to contend with, right? So let's go and stay right in here and go just a little bit smaller, which is we have a national election. We have a national election where we have two parties that are as far apart as we have ever seen in our nation's history. And not only that, but they're polarized, and they're launching hate messages back and forth. And so we have this division in our country between political parties. And there's no in between. It's not kind of like, hey, wouldn't it be nice? No, we are as far apart. There's anger, there's judgment, there's blame, there's bad behavior, there's rioting, there's censoring, there's illegal activities. I mean, we are as far apart as we have ever been as a nation, and we are being witnessed on a global level as to what we're going to do through this. So, well, my question is, as an integrational coach, is how do we get to this part? Instead of going like this, how do we get to here? How do we get to collaborate and recreate? What is that going to look like? What's going to force us there? And that's where we are right now. Was what is it going to take for us on a political, personal, social level to go from here to here? Jupiter, collaboration, coherence. So for today, the topic is preparedness, which is, let's bring it right in here. What can we do as human beings, as individual souls, to prepare? So prepare is the purpose to make something ready, or to use, or for consideration, to get something ready, right? To make someone ready or able to do or deal with something, to make someone ready. So it's like, preparedness is like, get ready for something. Are you ready? How do I get you ready? To make something ready or suitable in advance for a particular purpose. Like, we know it's coming. How are we going to get ready for this? And someone who's really prepared is sort of like that ever ready. I'm always on it, right? So preparedness is what we can have right now as we go into this religious, social climate where we have so many parts of us that are being activated. So are we prepared for the virus? Are we prepared to find out what's going to happen with the elections really? We know what we want, and we know what we think that each side has to do in order to come join us. But are we ready to be here? Because we're adapting, we're adjusting, we're being creative, we're problem solving, we're seeking solutions, we're trying to get to here. This is where we need to be as a culture, as a world. So let's bring this down to the micro. As we're adapting, as we're watching, we're dealing with our own fears. Of course, we have tons of fears, like, it's going to happen. They're going to, whether it's vaccines, whether it's who's going to be inaugurated in January. My grandparent may pass in the hospital and I will never get a chance to hold her hand again. These are normal, tremendous fears. And we have hopes, and we have our opinions, and we have our own triggers. So as we enter this holiday season, starting this weekend, as we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, is either traveling to Thanksgiving or working for a few days and then you're off, is that we have retail and media feeding us, as usual, that this is the holiday, you need to go spend money, you need to have the perfect table, you need to have the perfect gifts, and do it all online. So we have invitations to decorate and plan and gift, and this sort of triggers this. Well, if it's a perfect holiday, this is what it looks like. So I can do weeks on holiday decluttering, and please put comments down there if that's something that you want me to talk about. To me, it feels like I've done it so often that I don't want to do it anymore. However, this is a new audience every week, so tell me what you want me to talk about. So we have religious holidays that are bringing us into that sacred ceremony. We have Hanukkah. Oh my gosh, we have pagan winter solstice. We have these concepts where we are, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I can't list all the rest of them. We have these sacred moments, and they're important to us and our personalities and our family personalities and our culture. And I'm not diminishing them. I'm just saying let's add those on top of the social media, retail expectations of holidays. We have family traditions and conditionings that we gather together, that we gift one another. Or, what is it that you have been taught since you were little? I was in the grocery store the other day, and this little boy was having a meltdown. And I heard Mom say, "Do you want me to write Santa Claus and tell him that you've been bad today?" And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how often we use this Santa thing to try to stabilize or manipulate behavior in our children over the years. So whether we have separation and COVID guidelines, whether we have really huge financial challenges, whether we have political divisiveness, all of this, are you prepared for this? Do you understand how many pieces are at play right now? Because as we deal with this, as we try to navigate through this, it's going to make a difference as to what it looks like. Because we've got 5 weeks of 2020 and then we head into 2021. And I'm not sure that everything's going to be all hunky-dory and we're going back to normal, because what we're doing, think of Pluto, we're dismantling, we're taking the toxicity off. We've got Saturn saying, is that structure sound? And if it isn't, what do we need to do to change it, right? So I don't think normal is going to be coming back, right? So we want to make sure that we're making ready and that we're suitable, that we are prepared for what's going to happen, right? So part of this is that I always have my little tips, right? And so I've got 7 of them for you, so hang in there. So the first one is that it starts and ends with you first. You're the only one. You can do what you know you can do. You can deal with your own challenges. You can deal with how to breathe, how to stay centered, how to reduce your own reaction, which is all these things are going on. What do I need to do when all of these are present? It's all about you first. Okay. Second, remember that you're in turbulent times and that you're not just dealing with this by yourself. You got your shadow or shadows all acting together because shadows are up, right? So it's like, I might think, and then there's this like hurt. There's these old stories. There's these things that want us to go look at them. And we can't deal with them if we're afraid to look at them. And they're up and they're surrounding you, right? So your shadow's there. And then you're dealing with other people and you're talking to them and all their shadows are up because we're in pain, because we're in transition, because we're addressing things. So just know that whenever you go to a family gathering or you're talking to someone about politics or whatever's going on, that it's you and that person and your shadows all at work at the same time. So expect that you're going to see some bad behavior, except that they're going to there might be some name calling. There might be some really interesting behavior. Just know that. It's kind of like, yeah, me and my shadow, we're going to have some interesting interactions right now. Number 3, avoid the extremes. Try to stay out of one camp or the other on any perspective. Keep going in to, get away from the divisive conversations and the issues and become the observer and get to, well, what is a collaborative way? What's the middle point? Or what's the way that I can say something that doesn't affect this side or the other? For the last year, I've been monitoring and changing the way that I speak about things so that it doesn't look like I'm over here or I'm over here, but I'm holding for this, which has been a tremendous challenge. Tremendous. Number 4, be creative and compassionate at all times. You and everyone around you is navigating through anger, through fear, through love, through hope. And all at the same time. So, we're in these emotional minefields, right? Where you step one way and it's not working, you step over here and you can breathe. You step one way, it doesn't work, you step over here and you can breathe. Number 5, be realistic. This is what I can do. I can't change the world. I can't make this person become president. I can't make my political party. I can't do all of this myself, but what I can do is I can manage me. And when I manage me, I make a difference, right? So this is what I know how to do. This is how I can assist. This is how I can serve. This is how I can lead, is that I am realistic about who I am and what I can do. And then I know that my balance impacts the room with other people. Number 6, there will be setbacks. Know it. Don't think it's going to be perfect. Start playing out. There are going to be explosions. There's going to be bad behavior. I just had an email exchange with one of my closest friends who in 7 different posts probably called me 5 different names. And I'm looking at her and I go, I know she's out of balance right now. I know that this is not her best self talking. And so expect it. Know that there's going to be fear and that we're agitated. Know that during this period of time. So use your best tools. Use your best self at all times to know this is going to happen. What do I need to do when that happens to come back here to who I know myself to be? And number 7, play with it. For God's sakes, play with it. It's all coming apart as we knew it. We're dismantling. We're breaking apart, we're cleaning. Get curious, like, oh, what does it look like when you take all that crap off the outside, right? What does it look like when we remove what no longer works? What does it look like when we don't celebrate the holidays the same way? What does it look like when we considerably restrict our spending because it's not a time for us to spend money? What does it look like when we have a smaller gathering that's more intimate and we do something that we've always wanted to do together? Play with it. So be creative because you're creating something new. So be prepared for anything, everything, and expect surprises and have fun with it. That's the best thing I can say about being prepared. Prepared isn't, do I have the best set of tools? Prepared is, can I stay balanced and move with what wants to happen. This is the kind of stuff I talk about every week, and you can find with the rest of my videos on YouTube, LinkedIn, and on my website at DeniseDrydenCoaching.com. And you can always give me a call or drop me a note or put some comments here if you have some suggestions of something you'd like for me to cover. You have a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.